Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how I took a product from $0 to $4,000 in around 2 weeks. This was from slowly scaling it and basically just trying to focus on what was working, giving it a chance to optimize and going through. And in this video I'm going to be walking you through day by day exactly what I did and my thought processes behind it. So as you can see here within my ad account on the 5th of April, there was nothing in here. So I filtered this down by this individual product because as you all know, I run a general store, so I have multiple products running through my ad account. So on the 5th of April, as you can see, it's empty, there's nothing in, I won't run anything. But then on the 6th of April, I started with this sort of test campaign, and this was just one campaign for £100 a day. As you can see here, it spent the full 100, click-through rate of just over 1%. And if I just move over here, I got 11 purchases with a ROAS of 3.54. Now, my break even on this is 1.45. So as you can see, it was a massive profit on the very first day. And if I just jump into the ad sets on here, the ad sets that I was actually using were lookalike audiences based on viewers I'd had in the past on this product. Now, obviously, I've been running this store for a couple of years now, so I have a lot of data in my ad account, but I was running this basically off a number of different lookalike audience that view content, your add to cart, initiate checkouts, purchases, and I basically just dropped all those different lookalike audience into this campaign and ran it through and just let the CBO optimize which one was the best one. So then on the 7th, let's go to the 7th, I let this run a little bit longer. Obviously the ROAS on the second day was a bit lower, it was fluctuating. I had a decent amount of add to carts, but the checkouts, the conversions on that product weren't great that day. Go to the 8th. What I started to do then was I started to initiate my retargeting. So this was basically retargeting for view content in the last 14 days that hadn't added to carts without an initiate checkout in 14 days, and then initiate checkout without purchases in 14 days. And those are the 3 I was running. You can ignore these other ones. These were just tests I'd done in the past. But these are the 3 that I was running for this sort of run with the product. What I also did was I created a sort of a super CBO campaign. This is where I was going to add all my winning ad sets into this one campaign, and I had this set as a higher budget. So as you can see here, I set this at £500 a day, and I was going to basically duplicate everything that was winning in my test campaign and fire it over into my super CBO campaign. If we just have a look at what the ROAS was on here, as you can see, for the last 2 days that I was running this, I duplicated my winning ad sets into my super CBO, and I got a 2.45 ROAS on it on that day. Overall, it was a 2 ROAS for the full day, including the test and the retarget. And again, this was a break even of 1.45. On the 9th, I tested something to do with a super CBO retargeting campaign. This was basically where I was putting all my different retargeting ad sets into one retargeting campaign as a test. It didn't really work out. I prefer having them separate, so this is why I ended up switching it off. But again, I was letting the other 3 main campaigns run in here, the super CBO scaling one, my test one, and my retarget. And this day was actually came out in a loss. It actually dipped down. So I went from having a really high 3.4 ROAS, and it dipped down and dipped down again. If I go to the 10th, I'll let this run a little bit longer just to see, and as you can see here on the next day, it was actually a 3 ROAS. So what you have to realize is when you're running these that you're going to have ups and downs. Some days will be bad, some days will be really good, but over a certain length of time, I usually like between 3 and 7 days, you should be seeing a profitable ROAS. And then each day what I was doing was I was going into my campaign, so if I just jump into my CBO, and I was turning off any ad sets that ended up spending more than my break-even point in pound note terms. So this break-even was £19. So if I'd spent £19 on an ad set and it was lower than the 1.45 ROAS, I'd just kill it. Anything else I would let go, and basically with the CBO it allows Facebook then to optimize more funds to the ad sets that are winning because you're killing off ad sets that aren't winning. So if I just jump forward a little bit here, I think I let this run just for a few more days. I got 1.55 ROAS on that day. And then this day was really bad at 0.88. So this is where I was trying to scale, but I was obviously killing things off as they weren't working. The next day, 2.5. So that was a week at that point. By the 13th, we're on a week. So if I just do the full week to see what we were at a 2.09 ROAS across the full week. So a 1.45 break even. That's profitable over 7 days, even with the ad sets that weren't working. Obviously, I'm still testing at this point. I'm still figuring out which ad sets are working. So to be in a profit at this point is quite good. If we just jump into week commencing the 14th, I'm still just letting these run. Again, it's still quite fluctuating because I'm testing. And then basically what I tried to do was look at the ad sets that were winning over the last 2 weeks and put them in another sort of super CBO campaign. And this was to see which ones were most profitable ad sets over 2 weeks and just have their own campaign for that. If they're profitable over that length of time, then they must be good ad sets, they must be winning ad sets. So I'm going to drop them into their own campaign and see if I can scale that one instead. I also started a lookalike audience with visitors because I've had quite a lot of visitors at this point. I wanted some sort of fresh data, so I created a new custom audience for recent lookalike visitors, and I put this into the Euro area and to UK. On the first day there, you got 5 add to carts but no purchases. I only spent 35 on that. I put it in for £50 a day. Now you might be wondering why these ad sets here that I've got £500 a day and £200 a day budgets haven't spent that much in a day, and that's because I've recently started using bid caps even during testing. So instead of setting it as lowest cost, I've been using the bid cap, and I set my bid cap at 75% of my break-even point. Now what this does is it allows you to keep your CPMs really low, because you see here, look at my CPMs, my cost per 1,000 impressions, they're really cheap, and I'm reaching lots and lots of people for that. But on the downside is if it can't basically get the impression out there for that price you've set, you're not going to spend as much as your budget. So it kind of allows you to control your budget without blowing it, but it's a little bit slower, and this is why getting it to $4,000 a day was basically done over a 2-week period because of how slowly I was sort of scaling this. So if I just jump across to the 16th, we'll just see what's in here, letting it run a little bit longer. As you can see here, it started to spend a little bit more. So then on the 17th, we were still kind of doing well, but what I was seeing a lot of positivity, because you can see here I had 19 add to carts on that one, but only 3 purchases. That was a really bad day. I mean, that was shocking how many people, and my conversion rate on my store hovers around 3 to 4%. Sometimes gets as high as 7, sometimes drops below to like 2%. But that conversion rate there was terrible, which was saying that Facebook was kind of trying to find the right audience for me, but hadn't quite got there yet. So that's why it was coming out quite low. But on the day itself, it was, I was breaking even, or just above break even there. But you also have to remember that Facebook doesn't capture everything, so that technically is a little bit higher anyway. So just bear that in mind. So when we get to the 18th, got up to 1.71, which was the 19th. This is where we started really seeing sort of like profits on it. So we're at 2.34. We spent 933 in the day. As you can see here now, my 500 ad sets. This was actually a new campaign that I'd set for purchase lookalikes, 2 to 5%, because basically what I found was within my 2-week winning and in my Super CBO campaign, my ad set for lookalike purchases for 2 to 5% audience range were the one that were doing the best ROAS. So I actually duplicated that and put them into their own campaign at £500 a day budget, but with that bid cap at 75%. And within that day, we spent 337 on that and did 2.2 ROAS. And at this point, we're getting 145 add to cart, 69 purchases a day. And then if I jump to 20th, we're at 2.36 ROAS with an 864 spend and a 2,000 return. And then here we were at 2.49 ROAS, spent 1,195 and did a 2.49 ROAS and brought in £3,000, which is close to $4,000. And obviously this is lower than what we actually captured because we have the back end piece and organic traffic coming back. So it was basically $4,000 in a day by this point. So you're probably thinking, oh, it's $4,000 in sales, that's fine, whatever, what's the profit margin? Profit margin on this day here was 37%. The one thing I've realised with this is your budgets are irrelevant. Yes, I spent £1,100 in one day, but that was because we gradually scaled it and it became profitable over time. So we found which ad sets were working, killed the ones that weren't, and you're only ever going to go up to the ad set break-even point. You're never going to spend more than your break-even point on an ad set if you're doing this properly. You kill an ad set as soon as you hit your break-even point. So even if you're spending £5 a day, you're still going to be spending the same as me by the time you hit your break-even point. It's just that I'm getting to my break-even point quicker by having this higher budget. So don't be scared by these high budgets. If you set your bid cap at 75% of your target cost, you will be able to control your costs a little bit more, and it's definitely working for me. I've only recently started testing it, but as I get more used to it and see kind of what sort of results I'm seeing across multiple different products, then I'll probably do a video about bid caps in the future. And I know recently Facebook have just released cost cap as well, so that's kind of like a mix between target costs and bid caps. So I mean, this is a little bit more advanced. It's all to do with manual bidding. If you're new to dropshipping, then this might be a little bit too advanced for you, but it really, I mean, it was for me. When I started, I was scared of manual bidding. I had no idea how it was going to work. But once you get into it, also if you play around with it a little bit, it's fine. Just, if you're going to set your bid cap, just set it at 75% of your break-even point. If it's not spending, as you can see here on this day, I had a £500 budget, but it only spent £14.60. That basically said to me that my bid cap was too low on that day. But if I go back to, say, the 20th, bid cap was the same. It spent 111. If I go back to the 19th, spent 337. I wasn't lowering the bid cap at this point. This is just the way Facebook works. So on the 19th, I only spent 337 of my £500 a day budget. But the other days after that, because Facebook couldn't put that impression out on somebody's feed, it didn't spend as much. So it's just a way of controlling your costs without it spiraling out of control. But yeah, so within 2 weeks, we took this product from nothing, using that first £100 a day test, using lookalike audiences and just letting Facebook optimize it, and then increasing the budget, duplicating, scaling, and basically duplicating the campaign and scaling the budget, or duplicating ad sets into a new budget, and then going from there. And another thing about this product, it was a carousel ad. It wasn't a video, it wasn't a photo, it wasn't anything fancy. It was literally just a carousel ad with the different colours that were available for this product. It was amazing how well that worked. I thought I'd have to go through the whole video route, but I decided to test this carousel. It was basically just 4 photos on a carousel, and with a very native sort of ad copy that said, we found a really good deal on this product, check it out here. That was it, nothing fancy, no hard sell. If I just look at my click-through rate for yesterday, 21st, I was at 1.31%. I mean, Facebook's captured almost 3,500 views there, so people were coming through on that ad. And if you, I mean, it was crazy how many add to carts I got. 262 add to carts, 86 purchases gave me 2.49 ROAS, and that was like a $4,000 day. Just a quick update on my trip to Berlin to visit Oberlo. The video that we made when I was over there is going to be going live on their YouTube channel on the 9th of May. It's going to be a premiere on their YouTube channel, so I'll be there for the first hour of that launch. So if you have any questions about my visit over there or anything to do with dropshipping, make sure you're watching that video on the 9th of May. It'll be launched at 5 p.m. BST. I think it's around about 12 p.m. Eastern time in the US. I'll be there for the first hour, so if you have any questions to do with dropshipping or my trip or anything to do with the video itself, then make sure you're on their YouTube channel at that time on the 9th of May, because that'll be the chance to speak to me, connect with me directly, and we can, I can answer any questions that you have about dropshipping. Hopefully you found this video useful, a bit of an insight into how I run my store. Again, I run a general store, so I have lots of different products that I'm running like this, but this is just one that recently did really, really well. We went from nothing to $4,000 in a day. If you want to know more about dropshipping, you want to get involved in it more, if you're new to all this, then check out some of the links below in the description. There's some really useful information in there. So yeah, if you found this useful, click the like button, subscribe if you're new, helps me out a lot. If you have any questions about the video, then just drop me a comment below, I answer them all. there's anything you want to see in the future, then make sure you ask me that in the comments as well. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I will see you in the next one.